Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Leora if you're new here, and today we're going to talk about what dental schools you should apply to. So this list is in no particular order, so pick and choose what you will, but these are the things that I think are important to consider when you're applying to dental schools. Number 1, apply to your in-state public schools. This one's kind of obvious. It's going to usually be your cheapest school that you can get into, so apply to it. I would say also apply to your private in-state schools because generally speaking, if you're in-state, you're going to be close to family, so it's good to have a support system, and maybe you can commute to whatever in-state private schools you have so you can save money, on living costs or whatever. As long as the cost of attendance isn't outrageous, I see no reason why you shouldn't add all the schools in your state to your dental school list. Number 2, apply to the cheapest out-of-state dental schools. I actually made an Excel sheet and I made a video a few months back about the most expensive dental schools you can apply to, and although I've updated that list recently, the list is generally the same and it has more accurate numbers. So I'll link that in the description box below so you can check it out and see the cheapest out-of-state public dental schools that you could apply to and try and add those to your list if you can. The next set of dental schools that you should apply to are safety schools. And this may not be the case for everyone. Maybe you don't have a safety school because your stats are on the lower end, or maybe you have ton of safety schools because your stats are awesome.
Fall for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
Either way, if you have safety schools, try and apply to them, but just because they're a safety school doesn't mean that you're guaranteed admission. It just means that your stats are probably above their average. So no-brainer, apply to schools where your stats are above average and you probably have a good shot of landing an interview. Something important to note though is these safety schools generally will be out-of-state, private, really expensive dental schools, so make sure if you are applying to these schools that you are okay with the price tag if you are not offered any scholarships or anything. So keep that in mind because it would be awful to get an acceptance and then have to deny it or whatever happens because you do not want to pay that price tag, so be mindful of that. Some factors to consider when choosing which dental schools you should apply to are obviously your stats. So the IDEA guidebook does an excellent job of giving you all these numbers. They make it really user-friendly. So obviously choosing schools where your stats are on par or exceeding the schools that you're planning on applying to. Again, this will not be the case for everyone. You may be a little bit under the average stats for some or all of the schools, and it's just being aware of where you stand as opposed to the average of every school that you're applying to. Some factors that I personally considered when applying to dental schools were race, ethnicity, and gender. I am Hispanic and I am a woman, so I looked at these two factors when choosing my dental schools to apply to, and I was looking for diversity. And if I didn't really see that, I was more hesitant to apply to certain schools because I didn't really think I'd get in, because if I saw that they were not accepting, people like me, then I didn't think I should waste my money. That's not saying that's 100% true in every situation, but I wanted to make sure that I was being wise in the schools that I was applying to. So diversity was a huge thing for me, and I looked for that when applying to schools. Another factor you should consider when applying to dental schools are the requirements, and this is so important. Once you have a good list of schools that you want to apply to, go to the school's website. That is your best resource for looking at their letters of recommendation, how many shadowing hours do they recommend, or do they have a minimum. Some only want a certain amount of hours from a general dentist, some want it from multiple offices. Go to the website and see what it says, because some are very specific in what they want, and they will probably not look at your application as strongly as someone else who followed the rules. Some other requirements that schools look for are certain classes, and possibly volunteer hours that they have recommended. So I think a good baseline when applying to any dental school is to have a minimum of 100 hours shadowing a dentist, not working, because some are very specific. They don't consider it the same thing. They don't like double dipping.
Did you just double dip that shit?
And having a minimum 100 hours volunteering. I have worked on an Excel sheet where I have put out these requirements, and I'm not sure if it is ready at this point, and if it is, I'm going to link it in the box. The description box below, so you can use that as a resource. Last but certainly not least is location. So for me, when I was first looking to apply to schools, this was huge. I was like, I'm only gonna live where it's warm and sunny. I don't want to live anywhere up north past like North Carolina, and obviously that's not the case. I couldn't have ended up in the, like, a more polar opposite area, I guess. So just be open-minded when applying to schools. Yes, location does matter. Like, I didn't want to apply to schools that were super rural, so that was something that I used to help me eliminate some schools. But I'm happy where I ended up. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any other tips that I failed to mention, leave it down in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hey, subscribe down below.